Battery-powered radio advised to evacuate. Protection from shelter and shelters can be any protected space where the thick and dense enough to...
We found each other. I helped you out of a broken place. You gave me
length of your stay can range from a day or two.
falling for you was my mistake. I put you on top. I put you on top. I claimed you so openly. When times were rough, when times were rough,
Any disaster can be...
to be so caught up my
will increase your chances of survival.
I left my water at home and I'm like super thirsty right now from hiking, and someone just left this here. Like, what do you do in this situation? A while back, I made a video all about how to edit a really good travel video. So today I wanted to go back and make this tutorial and show you the other half. Just give you a bunch of techniques that you can use on location to shoot a great travel video. This is actually something that starts before you even get to the location. It's very important when you're shooting a travel video to pack light and really refine your gear so you're only carrying around what you really use. Over the years, I've really cut down the amount of gear that I lug around on trips. So now I'm not using a gimbal, I only take 2 lenses with me. And if you want to see the rest of the gear that I use to shoot travel videos, I made a video all about everything that's in my camera bag this Wednesday, so there'll be a card for that right here. In addition to refining your gear, it's also very important to have some kind of plan before you get to the location. So that could mean making a quick shot list of some ideas for shots that you want to get while you're there, or even picking out a song to use beforehand so that you can listen to it while you're filming and make sure your clips match the vibe of that song. And once you get to the location, one thing that it's very important to do is shoot for the edit. And this is something that I made a separate video all about if you want to watch that by clicking right up here. But this basically just means having the way you're going to edit the video in mind while you're filming it. So having the color grading, transitions, music choices, the sound design, all of that in your brain while you're shooting your footage. If you don't do this while you're on location, you're going to get to your computer and be ready to edit the video, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to put together an edit that flows concisely and smoothly. In addition to the edit, one thing that's essential to focus on while you're filming is what makes your location unique. So what can you not find anywhere else in the world? The example I like to use here is the sky. So if you're on a mountain and you get a shot of the sky, you could get that shot of the sky pretty much anywhere else in the world. So the viewer isn't learning anything new about the location. You're not characterizing that place for them by showing them the sky. But if you pick out the details of your location that are very unique, in my case this was the moss, the rotting logs on the ground, the fog, then the viewer is going to start to see the unique character of your location, because ultimately that's oftentimes the point of a travel video, is to show the viewer what it's like to be there and to make them feel like they're at that location with you. In addition to finding that unique character of your location to portray in your video, it's also important to decide on some kind of mood to convey this place in. So for me, I wanted to give this a very moody tone in the video. So I was shooting a lot in the shadows, in the dark, and I was going for a very slow, gradual camera motion in most of the footage. Motion is one thing that's very important for setting that mood in your video, both the motion of the camera and the motion of the subjects that are in the frame. But you're not necessarily gonna know exactly what mood you want to convey when you're at the location. You could show up and it just looks completely different, and you change your mind and decide on a different way to portray this place, and that's perfectly fine. But it's important to shoot for flexibility so that you have more options to switch up that mood later, and you have a bit more play for when you're deciding on how to portray this place. If you shoot with a flat picture profile, you're gonna have more options for color grading later, so you can change up the mood that way. If you shoot in a higher resolution, you're gonna have more options to zoom in and make the shot appear like it's a different focal length, or even animate a fake camera motion in there. And if you shoot in slow motion, then you'll be able to have a bit more flexibility regarding the camera motion, the speed, the length of the clip. Real quickly, I want to talk about slow motion because I know there's someone who just heard me say that and is already writing a comment right now about how travel videos overuse slow motion. If you're that person, what's good? How's it going? I see you. But they are kind of right. It's important not to use slow motion on every single clip. As useful as it is, it's very good to throw in some regular old real-time shots in there. Just some good old 24 frames per second footage. And I'm not just saying this about slow motion. It can apply to pretty much any technique you use. If you use the exact same techniques on every single clip, the viewer is kind of gonna get bored and zone out. But if you throw something different in there, just throw a curveball at your viewer occasionally throughout your video, you're gonna keep them engaged with the video and get their attention more often. A good way to add some subtle variety throughout your video and kind of keep the viewer on their toes is to use a variety of focal lengths. So don't shoot everything at 35 millimeters, 50 millimeters, whatever focal length it may be. Different focal lengths and different types of lenses have different effects. So if you're using a wide lens, that's very useful for a travel video because it allows you to show off those big grand spaces and really exaggerate height or scale in a lot of cases. It's also very good for shooting in a very cramped, tight location because you can get very close to that subject and still have it all in the frame. It's also super useful to have some kind of telephoto or just a longer prime lens with you because that allows you to isolate the subject more and show off those individual smaller details. No matter what lens you're using to shoot, I'll always recommend having an ND filter on it. This is super useful for any kind of video, but especially for travel videos because you're in a situation where you rarely have control of the lighting in the shot. Using a variable ND filter allows you to darken the shot without raising the shutter speed. So you're able to have that nice low aperture like f1.4 or 1.8 and also maintain that best shutter speed for having that realistic motion blur in your clip. So most of the techniques that we've talked about here can help you to improve your visuals, but it's also very important when shooting a travel video to be aware of the sound while you're filming. What you hear is just as unique to a location as what you see, so it's important to be aware of the sounds that you're hearing while you're shooting and even record some to use in the edit later on. So let's say that you've followed all the tips in this video and you've got a plan, you've packed right, you showed up the location and just got some absolutely bomb-ass footage. Back it up. Just back it up as soon as you can. Just do it. When you're traveling, you never know exactly what's gonna happen next, so it's important more than ever to back up your footage as soon as you possibly can. If you have your laptop with you, as soon as you stop filming, when you're back in your car, just plug in that SD card and just have that footage in two places in case you trip and snap your SD card in half or something. I don't know. Yeah, just back up your footage. I would appreciate it. And finally, let's not forget the most important thing of all for shooting a travel video, which is just to do so in a respectful and sustainable manner. Pick up your trash and keep it in your bag. Don't be that person who's off the trail, tromping around in the woods, like crushing some endangered fern or something, because nobody likes that person. And if you're at a place that's relatively remote and unknown, consider not geotagging it on Instagram and kind of preserving the integrity of that place for a little bit longer. The point of making a travel video like this is to share and help promote appreciation for the world around us. So it's so important to do so in a way that doesn't have a negative impact on it. But that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this video, learned something new, and if you did, do feel free to show your support by leaving a like on the video, sharing it with your friends, or even subscribing to my channel. I upload 2 new filmmaking tutorials every single week. But that's all for now. Keep creating, and I'll see you in